I did. It's right there.
See it? Okay.
It's like behind
I saw it
the,
on
if you
there.
want to see it.
No, no.
The boxes, just in case he wants to take it. Does it look like, okay,
It's a-
okay.
Yeah, perfect.
You deserve it. Okay, well, we'll look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Testing, testing. May I call the meeting to order? Thank you. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a regular meeting on September 16, 2025 at 5:01 p.m. here in the City Commission chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, 78520. May I proceed with the roll call?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Mayor John Cowan,
Present.
Commissioner Brian Martinez,
Present.
Commissioner Linda Macias,
Present.
Commissioner Tino Villarreal,
Here.
Commissioner Narendra Galonsky, Commissioner Gustavo De Leon, and Commissioner Pedro Cardenas.
Present.
Perfect. We do have a quorum. We will have the invocation that will be led by Pastor Brad Burks. And following, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flags of the United States of America and the state of Texas.
Please stand for the prayer and remain standing afterwards for the pledge to the flags. Father God, first of all, we just thank you so much for the privilege we have and the opportunity we have to get to know you personally, each one of us. And Lord, we thank you for the many blessings we have here in the city of Brownsville. Lord, the freedom here, the relative peace we have here, and the many opportunities that are coming to the city of Brownsville. Lord God, I ask you to lead our mayor, our city commissioners, and each department head to take the best advantage of the opportunities that are presented and lead us concerning everything that we're dealing with, from the budget to the opportunities, and help us to do what's best for the city of Brownsville in every instance. I thank you so much. We ask all of these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Now let's take a short moment of silence for two things. In remembrance of Charlie Kirk, who passed this week, of despicable violence, and it's always despicable. But moment of silence for him, and also where we can add our prayers to what has been spoken. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Proclamations. Recognizing Leo Garza in the National Rehabilitation Awareness Week.
A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing National Rehabilitation Awareness Week and the medical and community efforts of Leo R. Garza, OTR, MOT. Whereas our community celebrates National Rehabilitation Awareness Week, honoring physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, and other rehabilitation specialists who help our community thrive thanks to the remarkable service of people, devoting themselves to healing and caring for others, offering support, and fostering positive change through physical rehabilitation. And whereas Leo R. Garza, OTR, MOT, graduated from Gladys Porter High School in 1996, moved to San Antonio, Texas, and attended the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio, and received a master's degree in occupational therapy in 2002. Mr. Garza is board certified in occupational therapy by the MBCOT and is licensed in the state of Texas. Mr. Garza moved back to the Rio Grande Valley and started his professional journey working as a staff occupational therapist in pediatrics. And whereas his goal was to return to Brownsville community to help establish a facility that would provide comprehensive, quality, holistic rehabilitation services to the citizens of Brownsville and surrounding communities, would not have to leave the area to heal and recover from life-altering injuries or illnesses. In 2005, South Texas Rehabilitation Hospital opened its doors, and Mr. Garza moved back to his beloved Brownsville to be one of the first occupational therapists at STRH. And whereas Mr. Garza served in different capacities at the South Texas Rehabilitation Hospital, such as lead therapist, director of therapy occupations, chief operations officer, and most recently, market chief executive officer over Ernest Health South Texas Rehabilitation Hospital in Brownsville and Weslaco Regional Rehabilitation Hospital in Weslaco. And whereas during his tenure as CEO, Mr. Garza has led his team to multiple awards within the Ernest Health Hospital system, including three-time People's Award for the lowest employee turnover in the company, Outpatients Excellence Award, and the coveted Fuller Cup, awarded to the top overall hospital within the system. South Texas Rehabilitation Hospital has also received the top 10% in the nation designation by the UDS, recognition given to the top 10% of over 750 plus inpatient rehabilitation programs for quality outcomes, including discharge to community percentage, functional gain, discharge functional outcomes, length of stay efficiency, and low acute care transfer rates. And whereas Mr. Garza has served on various nonprofits organizations, including previous president and current member of the Rotary Club of Historic Brownsville, Leadership Class 30 graduate, and current board member for Leadership Brownsville. He currently serves on the board of directors for the Cameron County Regional Mobile Authority. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the charter of said city, do hereby honor and recognize Mr. Leo R. Garza for his outstanding hard work and contributions as an occupational therapist and hospital administrator, his dedication to serving this community, and his tireless commitment to be a blessing to others. We encourage all Brownsville citizens to join us today in recognition and be inspired by his outstanding achievements and dedication. Done on this 16th day of September, 2025, signed Mayor and City Commissioners. Congratulations.
And for the record, Commissioner Galowski is present.
I'm kind of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Here on 3, 1, 2, and 3. One more. 2 and 3. Awesome.
First of all, I'd like to thank Commissioner Villarreal, Mayor Cowan, the rest of the City Commission, City Manager, really all employees for the city of Brownsville, for everything you do for our city. And the fact that you're recognizing a really important and passionate thing in my heart, which is rehabilitation. I grew up playing sports and mainly team sports. And I learned very quickly that I was not the best player on the teams that I was a part of. And that's kind of been the common denominator to this day. Rehabilitation it's a team sport. It takes a lot of people to advance patients or clients to their ultimate goal. The patient is absolutely the most important person on that team. But if you take one person off the team just doesn't operate appropriately. And so I've realized that over the years, I've just been a part of a lot of really good teams. And again, haven't been the best player on the team, maybe average, maybe a little above average. I've been a captain of some of those teams. My team at home, which is an excellent team, my wife, my two daughters, I'm absolutely not the captain there. And I'm definitely not the best player there. My wife's an occupational therapist. I'd say the best OT in town, probably in the state, so gets me some points there. But at home, with my family, my parents, my brother and sister, at work, at our hospital, I'm inspired by these people every single day. And again, I'm not the best player on any of those teams. Some of them are here today. Some of them had to stay back to take care of a situation with one of our patients. And that happens every single day. And I thank them for doing that. When you talk about the team of therapists and rehab specialists that work in this city, that are working for pediatric facilities, for school districts, for hospitals, each and every one of them pour their entire heart out and try to give back to these patients, to get them back to what they were doing before and cope and be able to get past whatever injury or illness that has really changed their life. And so I'm not the best player on that team either. So today I'm accepting this on behalf of all the great teams that I've been a part of. And I think Brownsville is another team that I'm a part of, that, one city, one goal. And so I'm proud, I'm a proud member of this team as well. So thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you for bringing awareness for rehabilitation. It's definitely important that we keep that at front of mind and that we continue to try to give patients and clients access to the services we provide, because they're great. They're great services from 0 all the way to 104 years old. So thank you so much. I appreciate the recognition on behalf of the rehab community. Thank you.
The next proclamation is the National Child Passenger Safety Week.
I could call up who's going to be accepting this proclamation. You want to come in? It's an honor to read today's proclamation. This is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizes and supports National Child Passenger Safety Week. Whereas motor vehicles crashes remain a leading cause of injury and death among children in Texas, and proper restraint significantly improves survival outcomes. And whereas in 2002, according to the Texas Department of Transportation, 72 children under age of 8 died in traffic crashes in Texas. 16 were unrestrained at the time of the crash, and among children aged 8 through 12, 36 fatalities occurred, within 13 unrestrained. And whereas national data shows that approximately 46% of child care car seats are misused, reducing their protective value even when installed. And whereas child car seats, when used correctly, reduce the risk of fatal injury by 71% for infants and 54% for toddlers. And whereas the Trauma Regional Advisory Council, in collaboration with the City of Brownsville first responders, recognize proper child passenger safety is celebrated annually during the National Child Passenger Safety Week, the 3rd week in September. In 2025, this observance is September 21st through the 27th. And now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, do hereby proclaim September 21st through the 27th, 2025 as Child Passenger Safety Week in the city of Brownsville and urge all citizens to ensure every child is properly restrained in an appropriate car seat or booster every vehicle trip. Schedule a free car inspection with TxDOT traffic safety specialist via savemewithaseat.org. Help increase understanding that improper use of car seats drastically reduce safety benefits, and encourage parents, caregivers, and community groups to spread awareness about child passenger safety. Done on this day, the 16th day of September 2025, signed by the Mayor and City Commission.
Count of three, 1, 2, and 3. More. 1, 2, and 3.
Hi, good evening, City Commission. My name is Cassie. I serve as the Trauma Regional Advisory Council Injury Prevention Chair for the Region B here in South Texas. So I first want to thank Commissioner Martinez and Commissioner Macias for supporting this, as well as the leadership in front of me. Just want to know that this issue is very important. I mean, most of us have children, and car seats are definitely a very big thing that we should focus on. But to provide more insight on that matter, let me turn it over to Mr. Gabriel from the Texas Department of Transportation.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, board members. Gabriel Villarreal, I'm the Assistant Air Engineer at the San Bernardino office for TxDOT. Just wanted to share a few words. We're really proud to be part of this initiative. I know we all shared stats prior, and this past 2023 and 2024 both had about 47 fatalities for children under the years of 8 years old. And a little less than half of those were due to child being, I guess, not properly restrained in car seats, right? So I'm really grateful that we have this initiative going to promote child safety and restraining children correctly. And I know that in Cameron County, last year, we had 10 fatalities. And of those 10 fatalities, there was one child that was a fatality due to an unrestrained concern, right? And so we all know that one child is one too many, right? The children they're our precious cargo, they're our future, and we have to do what we can to provide and be cautious of everything that we do, And it's not just the car seats; it's also the pediatric vehicular incidents involving heat stroke, leaving children in the car seats. We have to be mindful of that as well, right? And so, on behalf of TxDOT, we're just grateful to be a part of this initiative, and just wanted to give our thanks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole and I work for Driscoll Children's Hospital. Like my previous partners have said, this is very important. 46% are being misused. Car seats are being misused. We want to lower down that percentage as much as possible to avoid these children coming in as traumas to our hospitals. Our event will be on Friday at the Southmost Brownsville Library from 10 to 12. I've been able to partner up with Brownsville Police Department maybe twice or 3 times out of the year, and we've been able to help about 20 families each time I've been able to come over here. So we do want to thank the city of Brownsville for partnering up with us and opening up their doors to Driscoll and to the whole members on this team. Thank you.
Public comment period. Under section 2-26, meetings and agendas, number 1 under conduct says that conversations between or amongst the audience members should be conducted outside the meeting room. Attendees should refrain from conversations while the commission is in session. B, cell phones, that attendees must refrain from the operation and the use of the cellular telephones, pagers, etc., or any of the mechanical device that may disrupt the city commission's proceedings. C, placards, banners, or signs are not to be permitted in the commission chambers or any other room in which the city commission conducts a meeting. And including this in this prohibition are the various hats, caps, visors, and T-shirts, which may represent the sentiments as alluded to in regards to the placards, banners, and/or signs. D, that exhibits and displays and the visual aids used in connections and with the presentation to the city commission are permitted. E, only the city commission members and city staff may approach the dais. If a report, letter, etc., is to be presented to the city commission, it should be given to the city secretary or staff who will make the distribution. It is preferable that the item to be distributed be given to the city secretary prior to the meeting. A copy of the item should be made available for the city secretary's official record. F, all comments shall be made to the mayor and the city commission as a whole and not to the individual city commission members. We did receive two that have pre-registered. One opted not to speak. So we have Yolanda Spees.
Yolanda Spees. Members of the commission, city staff, and community, another week, another reason to stand here to plead with you. From the outside, 3 years showing up can make a person look obsessed. I get that. What I've been trying to do is to get you to understand my situation and the situations of others who have lived similar experiences. What's hard is looking across the room, seeing the phones, the side conversations, the lack of eye contact, and even the mocking and the giggling. It's not okay. Public comment exists so people can be heard and for you all to listen and actually try to help us do something about it. If it does not move you and it just seems like a show, then that breaks trust. Here's what I'm asking for: a little responsibility, accountability, maybe even a simple apology for what these years have put some of us through. That would be a good place to start. And we need a town hall where people can speak fully and you can address gaps openly so we can make Brownsville a better place to live for everybody in Brownsville. Let's go ahead and fix what is right in front of us, like the basics. Proactive training that prevents harm before it happens. De-escalation, clear boundaries and respectful communication, along with professionalism from Brownsville PD. That protects families and it protects officers. It also helps everyone tell the difference between a real criminal intent and a person in crisis who needs help. They don't need to be abused by our police. Meet people where they are. Listen to those without connections or perfect English or palanca or what have you. The more you listen, the more likely you are to miss warning signs. When someone asks a hard question, answer it. Don't treat them like a nuisance. And if leadership cannot handle, if you cannot handle being in a leadership position and you can't handle being questioned, then leadership needs to grow. And it's got to grow or it's got to go. And honestly, if you can't do that, then maybe you just need to resign because we don't need someone like that. You need to offer clear steps that the public can see after major police incidents. Give a public summary that explains what was learned and what's got to change. Put dates on training updates and supervision. There's a lot of things that got to change. Nothing I'm asking for requires a headline. It just requires habits, speaking plainly, showing your work, and closing the loop. If this is too much to ask, then maybe you all should just go ahead and resign. I don't think that we're asking for too much by asking for a little professionalism, a little respect, and to be treated as the citizens that we are.
Next, we have the city manager's update. Number one is the public safety complex update.
We're very excited to be in this juncture. Thank you to the Mayor and City Commission for your leadership in providing one of the state-of-the-art national public safety complexes in the nation. What's so unique, and we'll go through that for our community so that they understand and know how, how interdisciplinary it is, because it includes police, fire administration, IT cybersecurity, and an emergency operations center. So it's a really exciting time, and we're gonna start with Dodo, who will then introduce the design team to be able to kind of speak to this project.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioner, to our viewing audience. I'm going to talk a little bit about why do we need a public safety center, right? The current infrastructure that we have in Brownsville, like many cities, is aging. We have a lot of challenges with keeping up with the growing times. Our police station was built in 1983. From 1983 to now, our task force has grown, technologies have advanced. The infrastructure is no longer suitable for where we're at today in serving our public. Our fire stations, and in particular our administrative offices, have severely seen this since they were built a little bit older than 1983. As far as our emergency operations center, for those that have been a part of it, we usually repurpose one of our rooms at our library to be able to serve that emergency and come together. So it requires a lot of logistics on our end to make sure that we have everybody and everything that we need to be able to serve our community in responding to these emergencies. Another critical point is our communications, right? Our IT department currently is housed in various locations throughout the city. So this kind of gives you a little bit of reason as to why is it that we need a public safety center, or why is it that we're pushing towards putting these four departments together, right? One of the biggest benefits that we have is improved communication, improved efficiencies. Our response times to our constituents will be improved drastically, whether it comes to fire, police, emergency response. The intent of this facility is to have them all housed in one place, right? Having them under one roof will provide a lot of benefits to the efficiencies, providing a more resilient public safety system for our city. This is going to help us streamline a lot of our processes with new cybersecurity measures, having a centralized state-of-the-art facility that helps build trust with our community and providing an accessible area. As I'll ask our architect and for the project, John Piercy, to join us and talk to you a little bit about the overall design and the visualization of how they've come together to put this facility together for us. John?
Evening, Mayor, Commission, City Manager, and staff. We're really excited about this opportunity to give you guys this update. Dodo's hit a lot of the why, and I would just like to cover kind of quickly some of the how that we're going to achieve a lot of this. So up in front of us right here, we've got a site plan that shows where the building is going to be oriented. Out of the entire 55-acre plot, we're using about 13 up on the northwest side, of course, fronting right on 511, very prominent. And then as you move south along the new public road that'll be installed down the center of the site, you'll have access to a road extension and be able to head south. And then, of course, you can see the GBEC Industrial Park there on the west. Some kind of broad strokes about the site plan. You can see some different colors up front on the north side there. There's sort of an ephemeral wetland, sort of a wetland made out of the storm sewer that we're actually able to treat and capture on site. Becomes part of that entry sequence as well as a bit of a security feature, providing kind of a moat, if you would. We got about 80 parking spaces up front. And then in the secure parking on the rear, we got about 300. Of course, landscaping would be all native, very low maintenance is the idea there. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's kind of the broad strokes on the site. As Dodo mentioned, the design sort of grew out of your one city culture. Chief kept talking about the one big roof for a lot of disparate departments that are currently not co-located. And so you can see here some of those broad stroke numbers about the different departments, the sizes of those under this one big roof, and how all of these being linked together around this very intuitive sort of central spine of circulation that I'll show you some images of here. Will make it a lot easier for not only our officers, but also the public as they come to visit the facility.
It'll also have public space or square footage we normally have the all hazards fair or certain types of where we invite our regional partners to come, especially when we're getting prepared for hurricane awareness. And so we'll have an area, I don't know how much square foot of area, where we have like kind of a conference center room where the community can also, or we as staff can use it as training or have those types of fairs. Normally we have it at the event center, but now we'll have redundancy with where we can locate community events.
Right, those training rooms seat, in the neighborhood of 250, 300 people, and they can be divided up. And it's all part of that sort of EOC center that can be stood up in one big room or several different rooms, support for kitchen, dining, things like that. And there's also the fitness facility sort of integrated into that. So to be able to have that training on site's going to be a big deal. And then flipping to the next slide. Just a little bit of the schedule. Got a pointer here. Great. So you can see here just again an overview of our schedule where we started way back in February. Part of our team, again, we're one firm that has several different teams behind us. Studio 720, sorry, not 702. But they're our public safety expert. And so we've been holding some pretty exhaustive group user sessions with police force and starting to wear them out a little bit. I think we've been having so many of them, but we got another one scheduled for next week that's focusing on IT, and we'll be wrapping those up with the design. We've currently completed the design development phase. So if you know how architects typically work, it's divvied up into different phases. And so we've gone through schematic originally, just completed design development. Now we're really digging into the nitty gritty, which is really timely because you've already hired your construction manager who will now be able to participate in all those kind of very granular discussions about how the building goes together. And of course, that impacts cost greatly. Our goal is to have the design sort of completed first next year around February. And then of course, begin construction very soon thereafter.
I would also say there was a lot of engagement from our police officers, our fire staff, our IT staff. So many of the employees and our EOC, they were part of this process, the design process. How could we improve efficiencies? How can we also plan for growth? So this is not just exactly, this facility also looks at longer term growth within the department as well.
And with that, I'd like to walk you guys through some preliminary imagery of what this thing is actually shaping up to look like. Got the next slide. Great. So city manager mentioned this outdoor space for all kinds of events, training. And so one of the things that we noticed as we toured different facilities around the state, we're always looking for best practices, but we're also looking for what were they lacking, what could they have done better. And that's one thing that we've seen at several of them, that they have an outdoor space, especially in our part of the world, you gotta have some shade if you're gonna use it. So you see here kind of the big gesture here is that shade canopy right out in front of the entrance. And this entrance has been, really kind of refined over several iterations to make it as intuitive and as, I guess friendly for folks that come into this facility to be able to find their way around. So there's kind of one entrance that gets, through signage and wayfinding, you'll be able to work through the building and whatever you're there for. But again, this sort of public civic space out front was a heavy hit. Beyond that, some of the materiality that you see here is we're staying away from any painted surfaces. We want low maintenance finishes. So you've got here, aluminum, some stone, and of course metal that is pre-finished in a factory with a 10 to 20-year warranty. So we want to make this as simple to operate. It's going to be a very complex 24/7 building. And so maintenance is always something that we keep an eye on for you guys. And you can see here also that sort of ephemeral wetland water feature that will be mostly dry unless there's rain. We will be treating all the condensate from the AC units on site. Keep it out of your wastewater system and use it as a natural feature on the site. And this entrance bridge that you see here will be part of that entry sequence. Next slide. And then here you notice a little map underneath the image, kind of shows you where you're looking from. This is as you move around that parking lot. There are two sort of main entrances here for the public. You've got the main one into the PD lobby, and of course, the training is also centered with that one. Then we've got a separate one over for property and evidence in the holding facility that kind of broke those apart. And then the third being, of course, the secure entrance from the secure parking side. So this is just a little bit more of an overview. We can get an idea of the materiality and also how we're treating shading devices, not only as keeping your utility bills lower, but some security there with those fins over the windows and those protruding overhangs. Next slide. And this is something that we hear a lot about. This building, y'all intended to be sort of a beacon that you could find on a foggy day with nothing else on. This is essentially the safest place in Brownsville, and we want people to be able to find it. We want it to be sort of an iconic location. So these monitors that you see up on top of the roof actually draw in daylight into those main street spaces. And then at night, they'll do the inverse and they'll glow and provide that sort of icon of public safety, which we treated as sort of a campfire, throughout history, beacons and campfires, people huddle around for safety, and it brought us together. And so that's sort of the design base that you see here. And then next slide. Here we're moving into some of these interiors. And I'll implore you guys, these finishes are obviously a work in progress, but we wanted to sort of express to you how the quality of light is, what your public will experience in that main lobby for the police department. So this particular view is from the reception desk looking back towards the door that you just entered from. And then you'll see that there's some daylight being drawn in that double height space, the adjacent second story spaces communicating with that area. And then all secured. You can't advance past this point without,
And also, there's one side is more of a police entrance and another side that is the general public entrance. So they have different, it's one main lobby, but if you're a community member, you're not necessarily there for police services. You'll be able to have someone that you can speak to. Maybe you're going to the all hazards fair, awareness fair. Maybe you need to talk to someone in IT because of cybersecurity, what have you. So they'll have their own person, that kind of information person that could help them, find the department they need to find. Or if there's a fair or an activity, that they can be given a pass to go to that activity.
Exactly. And you can see one of those information windows there on the right next to the entrance into the semi-secure vestibule and vertical circulation. Next slide would be that sort of main street that we've carved out of the middle of the facility. So one big roof, sort of one big main street. And this is something that we envision as sort of a public condenser, a social condenser. You'll run into folks here. Everybody has to travel these same kind of pathways. They're pleasant places to be, pleasant places to hang out, get some restorative care, and, put people together and, just kind of make all that communication facilitated. Drawing all that natural light in, as open and inviting as possible. We really want this to be a friendly place. Don't let the colors fool you, obviously. It's not going to be a hospital all white like this, but, just to give you a sense of that quality of space, potentially even have some seating in here and some furniture where you have some, quick huddle meetings or just hang out. And a lot of transparency to allow that natural light from the center of the building actually get into the spaces so that you don't have this dark core. It's actually the inverse. And so that's just kind of a broad overview. I think that's all the images we got. And happy to entertain any questions.
And we'd like to invite everybody to the groundbreaking. That's tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. I heard it's not going to rain. I'm looking at Odie at EOC. She's calling the Weather Channel. But, it's a very big, first of all, thank you to the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation. We work with them on the 55 acres. And we also wanted a very nice building to begin the development of their technological park. So this really speaks as one city, good collaboration, partnerships, and it'll be our safest building in the city and in Cameron County and probably RGV in terms of, for hurricane preparedness and weather. So it's really important for us. It's about how many thousand square feet total?
The overall building's about 100.
100,000 square feet. So really preps us up for growth and for the future of our city.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the hard work so far, and I'm excited to see what's to come. This is I think, generational project, so we're building the future of the city, right, for the next 50 years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Mr. Dan Holman from United Soccer League to come up. Today we celebrated a press conference, and many of you were here with us, and we just want to welcome you to our city. And I know you'd like to say a few words, but it was a wonderful event this morning.
Thank you. Mayor, Commissioners, City Managers, good to see you all again. It's been a successful day. For those who aren't aware, so I'm Chief Operating Officer for the United Soccer League, and earlier today we embarked on the beginning of a partnership to explore bringing professional soccer to the great city of Brownsville, and looking at potentially reimagining the Brownsville Sports Park and redeveloping it into a vibrant sports and entertainment complex that could host soccer, professional soccer, both men's and women's soccer, as well as other cultural events, community events, and other entertainment. So just wanted to say a few words in the next 90 seconds or so about the United Soccer League. So I've been with the league about 6 years. If I may, I just kind of talk about a personal story, which I think really embraces what we're trying to do here. So I come obviously not from Texas, from England. I grew up in a relatively small town of 80,000 people who has a professional soccer team, and the team really forms, the town is identified through the club, through the team. When people hear where I'm from, they're like, oh yeah, you have this professional soccer team. We get about 15 to 20,000 people going to each game, which is not bad for a city of 80,000. And it's really caused a lot of civic pride, and it's become part of the social fabric of the community. I joined the league about 6 years ago, wanting to really build this soccer legacy across the country and mid-sized, smaller-sized communities, that it can be part of the social fabric. And it doesn't really matter if you're a huge soccer fan, although obviously we know that there is a huge soccer culture here in Brownsville, and that's one of the reasons why we're so excited about this project. But it's more about bringing amenities and a way to, create this congregation of love, really, for people who want to get together and be part of the social interaction. So the USL, we have nearly or close to 50 active professional clubs across the country. We operate men's and women's professional leagues. We also operate pre-professional and youth properties. We have about a dozen expansion clubs starting in over the next 2 or 3 years. And that shows that we're the fastest growing soccer organization in the country. We really are committed to expanding access to the beautiful game and ensuring that more fans, no matter where you are in the country, have a local team and a stadium they can call home. Additionally, we have media rights deals with CBS, ESPN, and Peacock. So we are the most accessible soccer organization for fans to watch across the United States. And as I said, at its essence, USL is really community driven. It's about making a difference to its cities, both culturally, socially, economically. I think when we're looking at expansion projects, the question that was asked to me earlier was, why Brownsville? Well, we're looking for growth cities. We're looking for leadership who are strong and have vision. And I think the folks in front of me have shown that thus far for our experience. Also, I believe, with the tremendous and significant growth investment in Brownsville and the surrounding area, there's a desire and a demand for more amenities and more things for families to do, to take their children, and again, in an affordable nature. This isn't about exchanging jerseys, right? Your constituents will still remain Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, Real Madrid fans, whatever, FC Dallas fans, Austin fans. But unlike being either unable to go and visit a game or going one time a season, they'll be able to go 10, 15, 20 times a season to their local club. It's an aspiration and an inspiration for the youth. So I'm very excited to be here today and very honored for the invite. And I'm looking forward to working with with city leadership, community leadership on this project as we explore it over the next 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know there's a request to take an item in individual consideration prior to consent.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to
Item-
suspend the rules to bring individual consideration item number 4 next.
Second. Sure, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Item number 4 reads, is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-113 to designate Eduardo Villarreal de los Reyes as the City of Brownsville Poet Laureate.
So Commissioners, Mayor, I wanted to bring this to our city. I know that the United States, the Library of Congress appoints a poet laureate, and many states and counties and cities do. The city of Brownsville, this is voted on, going to be our very first official poet laureate. So therefore, it's not a proclamation. We have to put it for a vote in an individual item for consideration. I would just like, as part of my discussion, let me actually make the motions. Move to approve, and then I'll discuss. Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item?
Before we vote, I want to just read to you a little bit about Mr. Eduardo. Eduardo Villarreal de los Reyes, born in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico, in 1963, has dedicated a life to the craft of poetry and to the promotion of literature and cultural exchange across the border region of Texas and northern Mexico. In 2016, he founded the cultural forum Poesía en Atril, which continues to host monthly readings and provide a platform for writers from the northeast of Mexico and Texas. Mr. Villarreal de los Reyes has also received numerous awards and recognitions throughout his distinguished career, including a candidate for the National Youth Award in Literary Creation in '85, recognition for El Festival de Otoño de Matamoros in '96, honors from the Society of Geography and Statistics of the State of Mexico in 2019, finalist of the National Poetry Award, Alicia Acosta in 2023, and recognition at the 27th International Poetry Encounter of the State of Mexico in 2024 for his book, El Imperio del Olvido, and his extensive literary career. His literary legacy includes published works such as Ahora Pregunto Yo, 2019, Sometimes Poetry, 2020, All Over Again in 2020, Poemas Cortos, Amores Largos in 2021, Viernes de Dolores in 23, and El Imperio del Olvido in 24, as well as anthologies and compilations that showcase the voices of emerging and established poets. Through his honors bestowed by educational institutions, including the unveiling of his name on the library at the Escuela Secundaria Técnica Número 4 in Lázaro Cárdenas, and the naming of its 2025 graduating generation in his honor. I'm a big believer that the city is due for a poet laureate. I think it elevates our community pride, deepens our cultural roots, and ensures that the arts remain part of our civic dialogue.
Any further comments? So with that said, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, right over here. Count of three. 1, 2, and 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. And then another one.
Nunca pensé que iba a estar así aquí. Muchas gracias. Soy de la generación del trabajo. Soy de la generación de la esperanza. Recibo esto en nombre de toda la gente que ha estado aquí en Brownsville, que se ha querido hacer visible, y nosotros los que somos visibles podemos levantar una bandera. Gracias a mi familia y gracias a todos ustedes. Gracias.
Next is the presentation. Item number 1 is a presentation by the Brownsville Public Utilities Board providing an annual report on the progress of the collaboration with the city of Brownsville as required by the city charter.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Gerardo Martinez, and I wanted to be here today for a couple of things. One is to introduce myself as the incoming PUB Chair. I know I've been in conversations with many of you, but I will be reaching out to set up a one-on-one meeting, make sure I listen to any concerns you may have, and any other opportunities that we can collaborate as a city and PUB. So I look forward to talking to you one-on-one. Today, I'm bringing the annual report as required by our city charter. This report is really just information sharing that we do once a year, is required by our charter. I'm not going to go through it in full detail. More than that, just wanted to highlight the importance of it and also the 4 areas which we can see here. Well, maybe you can see here. There you go. Yeah, the 4 areas where the intent of the information is to eliminate duplication of services, create administrative efficiencies, provide joint efforts, ensure quality of service at lower cost. In short, to work together. I think that's what the community wants us to do, and we will definitely do that. I know this information was sent to you before, so if you have any questions, feel free to let me know at this time. If not, then I would look forward to talking to you in the future. With me here is Marilyn Gilbert, the CEO. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Del Bosque Gilbert. I'm the General Manager and CEO for the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. And thank you so much for having this opportunity for us to present this report to you. In your packet, you have the letter, you have the full report, and of course, this presentation. I know there's a lot of other items on the agenda, so to expedite, or if there's any questions, we'll be happy to answer any questions. And with me, I have our Assistant General Manager.
Yeah, I'm Mark Dombrowski. I'm the Assistant General Manager and the Chief Operating Officer. I'm pleased to be here this evening.
So this is the third reporting session. This is the charter election changes that we need to report to the City Commission. And any other changes or things you would like to see in the report, we'll be happy to, on Mr. Martinez's one-to-one, incorporate into future reports. And with that, also, please feel free to discuss with a joint subcommittee that two of you sit on. Thank you, Mr. Cardenas and Mr. Villarreal, for serving with the chair having to be the mayor. And so, of course, two of our board members are also part of that sub-task force. And in there, we can address any items or changes you'd like to see into the report. With that, I'll turn it back to our chair.
Yeah, so just checking in once again, any questions or comments?
Like that, I didn't know if you had a presentation, or can I take the role? Okay, sorry. So I actually read the report because I like reading this kind of stuff. For people who are curious, PUB does a lot of stuff with the city, like not just electric and water and sewer, but you mentioned the light bulbs and the street lamps, you know, LED and stuff. So this is a very short and easy way to see just some of the work that y'all do. However, and I think it just goes to show how much we should appreciate what PUB does for the city. However, there were some things about the report that, well, one, there's a lot of things that you could have discussed also that I thought were missing, but little details like, and maybe I'm being nitpicky. So for example, you're talking about which joint services efforts, streets that were repaired by the city in the last fiscal year, because that's what the report was supposed to detail, was for the last fiscal year. And it just so happens that the 3 or 4 streets that were mentioned for District 1 were streets when I was last city commissioner. So that was 2 years ago. I realize that those are costly projects and they take a long time. But if you haven't done anything really in the last fiscal year, then don't include information from the previous year. The fiber installation, which PUB is assisting with by helping locate the maps. As recently as I think it was July, there were still people calling me or reaching out that they were breaking the water lines. And even though the residents would tell them like, no, the line is here, they were still, the neighborhood, Riverside, I think that's what it's called, right? East Brownsville, Southeast Brownsville. They were without power like for a whole, well, without water for a whole week. They would have long chunks of hours without water. Those are things that we need to recognize and maybe cooperate with the residents themselves to listen to them. I realize that y'all, I think, hired a third party to mark the lines and their maps were not that great. But in the end, they're the ones that were affected and maybe we should reach out to them. Just, it's all about customer service. Today, this afternoon, I was at PUB doing 2 new connections. And I love going there because I think the service is great. I've dealt with the same girl, but not everyone is fortunate to have a great experience. The Resaca projects, we need to be more vocal about it so that people understand where the fee is going and what's being done. I read the report and it was called Resaca de la Guerra Resiliency and Restoration Project. Most people will not know which one's Resaca de la Guerra. Tell them what street it is so that they can drive by and maybe check it out for themselves. And what do they mean by resiliency? I know that sometimes we don't have time to actually pay attention to everything that's going on out there, but there are people that are curious and it'd be nice to be able to show them, look, this is where it's at, this is where you can go. Then my biggest concern, and I've had this discussion with you, Jerry, and I respect you a lot, and Marilyn too, and Mr. Dombrowski, I've barely met you, but I hear many great things, and you impressed me that one time that I met you. So we need to know what PUB's strategy is for future growth. As the city has this big momentum, I don't know what y'all are planning. There's, for example, there's always in my family, we talk about, ooh, what kind of businesses can you attract to Brownsville, to Los Fresnos, to the Valley? Because, I mean, that's our business. Data center was one and I'm sure PUB would not, would be like, well, I don't know that we can do that. So where are we with that? And it'd be nice to know that, not just, do we have the capability? I know that in the past, when I was on PUB, they projected growth to like 3% and it was over projection. What are y'all projecting population growth and commercial growth to be like? These are kinds of questions that we would like to know here at the City Commission, and I think to the city in general, as we try to attract more businesses to invest in our community. So those, I hope y'all know I'm a big fan of PUB. I have been, and I try to do most for our city entities. And the employees, I think, are really the heart of the company. They do a great job, but we can always do better. And I can do better too. Like, we at the city can do better too.
Very good points. Definitely we will take that into consideration. In some cases, we have provided some information, but we need to do a better job of getting that information out to the community. So we will take all that feedback and come back more often, not just once a year, but come back more often and provide you that information. Yeah, so you have my commitment for that. Any other quick comments or suggestions?
Personally, would love to have a meeting with you whenever possible. And just on the presentation, thank you all for being considerate of keeping it short, but I do think it is important for us to outline at least the most important things. I mean, everybody asks about certain things, right? And we all know what it's about. Hey, what is our fees looking like? What are we doing with the Resaca fee, as Commissioner Galansky was saying? And I think those are the kind of things we should bring out and let people just understand why it's happening, what's going on, what we're doing with it. So although we want to keep it short and sweet, we have to give the people the information that they need.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely.
And what I don't want to happen is, hey, we presented it to you September 16th, 2025. Well, maybe I missed it, right? And I want it to come out. Things that are important should always be up in front, please. Thank you.
I'll set up that meeting, Pedro, and we'll continue. Any other comments?
I just wanted to thank you all for the presentation and for also working with us in the project. I'm very much looking forward myself, as long as every individual that drives on Coffeeport Road. I think it's going to be an amazing project, and I'm glad that we're working together to ensure that we have that road widened, as well as adding sidewalks to that. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
Sure. Good. So a lot of the items that were discussed, we are working on in the background regarding plans for our water system, for expansion, as far as what we're projecting for growth and how that process works. So next meeting, I will definitely bring that information. And of course, the Resaca fee and its content, all of the activities around that, that definitely, I'm pretty sure it's on schedule to be here in the next month or so. So you'll definitely be hearing more details around that and to help you guys make a decision on that point. But thank you for now, and we'll be in contact. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, we are going, at PUB, we are going through two important processes. One is the strategic plan, which is our 5-year plan. And the second one is the integrated resource plan, right? And that involved a lot of feedback from the city, from GBIC, and from other community stakeholders regarding what we want to see going forward, right? And I think getting all that input and feedback provides a very transparent process.
Yeah, we opened it up to several of the organizations around town. But again, I'll bring some information to you and more content to provide the background and give you visibility of why it's important to have the plan and what it means and what actions we are planning to take around that.
It's already at the end.
So I couldn't remember because it's been a while since I did with I remembered it started with an I. But then where are we like with the plan that was created 5 years? Because it's usually a 5-year term, right? So where are we with like what they projected for these current 5 years and what actually happened? Like those are things that y'all can report and say, well, you know, we actually exceeded growth or demand, whatever, right? Like how well is that what integrated resource plan, IRP? How well does it match what is actually happening and how do we need to tweak? Because that kind of information is valuable to many entities, right? As they choose to come to Brownsville or just to, how do we tailor our growth in that? And that's also a way to promote our city. It should be something that that we all know about, kind of, or at least, you know, the content and the basic message of those.
Yeah, definitely we'll provide more details around that. I don't know if Marilyn or Mark, you have any quick comments?
We'll incorporate all of your comments into the next reporting session, and we'll also include new sections that the charter does require. The intent of the reporting was the things that we collaborate, you know, but it sounds like there's additional things that we're working at PUB that are not part of the requirement of the charter to come report that we need to provide you. We did complete our water wastewater master plan, and so that was also presented to our PUB board and adopted. So we'd be happy to set it, and I'll work with your city manager to include it and incorporate. And the same presentation that was made for the PUB board, we'll provide it here. We have done a very public process with our PubCap and others, our integrated resource plan, before it was held in behind closed door. It is considered competitive sensitive, but we have made it and streamlined it so that we can make sure that we still have good pricing, but also available to the public on the things that are there. So all of this information is on the PUB website as well. And of course, our strategic plan, we're in the process right now, and we'll be happy to give a status report of where we're at on the strategic plan. And thank you, Mayor, and for participating in the last session. We had a working session at offsite between all the management directors, incorporating all of the meetings that were held from the various different committees and staff members. If you were not one of the commissioners that happened to not participate in that planning process and questions, we'll be happy to provide you a one-on-one presentation as well with that as well, or a full presentation, however you all see fit. So with that, we also working on a lot of different projects. Happy to provide that, you know, information outside of the joint efforts that we're working on with the city.
Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Consent agenda items. Item number 16 will be pulled as we received a conflict of interest form from Commissioner Cardenas.
And I did want to point out, I had emailed earlier on item 19, which is the master fee schedule. Just wanted to point out that within the ordinance that you're adopting, it does contemplate that there will be changes outside of this meeting from what's in the packet. As I'm still extracting instances where the master fee might be redundant with our actual code of ordinances. And so our code is over 766 pages. This will just place it in one area where it's accessible to the public, which is the master fee schedule, rather than listed in both places, which can run the risk of contradicting fees. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Councilor. I'll make a motion to approve consent items 1 through 15 and 17 to 19.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Now, item number 16 is the consideration and action to approve the contract agreement 262-25 MKT-RFP between the City of Brownsville and Artelier 956 LLC for the video streaming services in an amount not to exceed $421,524 as budgeted, with a 3-year base term and 2 optional and 1-year renewals for a total contract term up to 5 years.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Now we enter into the public hearing portion of the meeting. Item number 1 is the public hearing and action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-002 from the agricultural AG to the regional center RC to allow the storage facilities, small warehouses for a 4.75 acre tract of land, more or less out of 47.51 acres out of a 216.04 tract. Share one, the Espiritu Santo Grant, Cameron County, Texas, located at 1 New Carmen Avenue, Brownsville, Texas, 78520, as shown in Exhibit A in District 4.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. This first case is a request to upzone from agriculture to regional center. The proposed uses storage facilities with storefronts. The property is fronting New Carmen Avenue. And just to provide some additional context, this would be the second phase of the project. Originally, around 7.5 acres were annexed into the city and rezoned under the same petition. Now the developer is coming with 4.5 acres approximately and requesting the same zoning change to accommodate the proposed use. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 64 mail lots and 0 written opposition. This is a zoning map. What predominates in the area is residential single family. Just to point out, there is a buffer between this residential use and the land that's being rezoned. And P&Z did recommend the approval to rezone from agriculture to regional center. Any questions?
What are they going to store? Sorry.
So it's the same property owner that owns the plaza where Tesla's at along the expressway. It's basically the same type of development, sort of in warehouse style with a storefront. That's what they're proposing. No.
Or something, okay.
And I do believe we have a commissioner that had indicated they were going to recuse themselves from this particular item.
Right. Any other comments or questions from the commission on this item? So this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Move to close public hearing.
We have a motion to close and a second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Martin, can I
Yes.
just ask you one question? Is that a canal behind it that separates the residential area from
That is correct. It's a drain ditch. Yes, ma'am.
and the street runs in front of, on the other side
Correct.
of the houses? Okay. It'll be facing, the retail would be facing the street.
The street, New Carmen.
I'll move to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Item number 2 was a public hearing and action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-015 to rezone from commercial the corridor CC to the residential single-family R1 to allow the single-family residence for Lot C1, Block 1, Rancho Simpatico subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located at 9275 US Highway 281, Brownsville, Texas, 78520, as shown in Exhibit A, District 4.
This next request is a down zone from commercial corridor. The proposed use is a single-family residence. To be able to accommodate this use, residential single-family zoning designations required. The property is fronting US Highway 281. The polygon in red is what represents the property that's being rezoned. It's approximately 1 acre, and it is part of the residential subdivision that you can see to the southwest of the image. The lots that were fronting US Highway 281 were originally destined to be commercial lots. However, the area mostly developed into residential and also a mixture of commercial. For this particular case, the applicant is wanting to build a single-family home on the property. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 15 mailouts and 0 written opposition. And the zoning that predominates along the corridor is commercial, along the US Highway 281 corridor is commercial corridor. And there's residential single-family to the southwest and agriculture to the west and the ETJ to the far east. And P&Z did recommend the approval to rezone from commercial corridor to residential single family.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Move to close. Second.
All right, we have a motion to close and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Public hearing, item number 3, is a public hearing and action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-016, to rezone from the residential estate, RE, to the residential transition, R3, to allow a multifamily development for a 5.85 acre tract of land, more or less, out of lots 9 and 10, block 308, El Jardín, a re-subdivision, shared 10, Espiritu Santo Grant, Cameron County, Texas, located at 1000 of Medford Avenue, Brownsville, Texas, 78521, as shown in Exhibit A, District 1.
This request is to upzone from residential estate to residential transition to accommodate multifamily development. This property is fronting Medford Avenue. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 15 mailouts and 0 written opposition. This is a zoning map with the zoning to the north that predominates as a regional center. There's a residential transition to the east and a residential estate to the south. Just to point out, there are other multifamily uses within the area, within the R3 district, and directly to the south along Medford. All those properties are either multifamily or duplexes. And P&Z did recommend the approval to rezone from residential estate to residential transition, R3.
What's the access point there, Martin? How do you access that?
So the access point would be the long strip. If you look directly to the left of the polygon that's labeled R3, the long strip would be the access point to the rear. That would be one area that would be developed, and then over where you see the RE label, that would be another area of development.
Okay. And this exits out to Boca Chica, correct?
Correct. Yes.
I just want to stress with staff again, with city manager's office, the importance of all of these developments happening along Boca Chica. We need to ensure that we get a stoplight somewhere around there. I've gotten calls where you're 10, 15 minutes at a stop sign trying to wait for traffic that's ongoing out to Highway 4. If we can just keep that on our radar, would appreciate that. Thank you, Martin.
Yes, Commissioner, that's been brought up to the attention of TxDOT, and we'll make sure staff follows up.
Thank you, sir.
Any further comments or questions for the commission? This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Move to close public hearing, Mayor.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Public hearing, item number 4, is a public hearing in action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-019, to rezone from the agriculture AG to the residential single-family R1 to allow a single-family subdivision for 10.0 12 acres out of Block 174, El Jardín, a subdivision, Share 27, Espiritu Santo Grant, Cameron County, Texas, located at 2915 Smith Road in Brownsville, Texas, 78526, as shown in Exhibit A, District 3.
So the current zoning for this property is agriculture. The applicant is looking to upzone to residential single-family R1 for the proposed use of a single-family subdivision. This property is fronting Smith Road. And just to provide some history, back in 2023, this property was annexed into city limits for the very purpose of becoming a residential single-family subdivision. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 23 mailouts and 0 written opposition. This is the zoning map. Right now, the property is zoned agriculture. To the north, there's residential estate, residential single-family, and residential transition. Now, because of the lots that they're proposing, in total, they're proposing 12 lots. The current zoning designation requires larger lots, 1 acre lots, and they're proposing smaller lots between 15,000 and 25,000 square feet. So a little bit less than half an acre. So to be able to accommodate that particular density or lot size, the residential single-family designation is required. And so PNZ did recommend the approval to rezone from agriculture to residential single-family. Questions?
Any questions or comments from the commission? All right, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Move to close public hearing, Mayor.
We have a motion to close public hearing. We have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Public hearing, item number 5, is a public hearing and action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-020 to rezone from the residential transition R3 to the commercial corridor CC to allow the commercial plaza for a 5.81 acre tract of land comprised as of 2.33 acre tract of land at a Block 5 RB Renfro subdivision and a 3.48 acre tract of land out of a 5.90 acre tract of land out of an 8.00 acre tract conveyed to FW Wheeler in Cameron County, Texas, located at West Ruben M. Torres Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78520, as shown in Exhibit A, District 4.
This request is to upzone from residential transition to commercial corridor for the proposed use of a commercial plaza. This property is fronting West Ruben Torres Boulevard, very close to the intersection of Laredo Road. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 28 mailouts and 0 written opposition. And just again, to provide some history, this area was recently partitioned to accommodate a multifamily development for the purpose of senior living directly to the north of this parcel. So this actually is remaining 5.85 acres from that original partition. So right now they're already working on that multifamily development and it's already under construction. The developer just wants to use the remainder of the land for a commercial plaza. This is a zoning map. What predominates in the area? Well, it's actually a mixture of commercial corridor and residential transition. There's also residential single family to the north and residential suburban to the southeast. PNZ did recommend the approval to rezone from residential transition to commercial corridor.
Questions or comments from the commission on this item? All right, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to discuss this item, please step forward.
Mayor, I move to close public hearing.
All right, we have a motion to close. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to close. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Public hearing, item number 6 is a public hearing in an action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-021 to rezone from light industrial LI to the residential transition R3 to allow a multifamily development apartments for Lot 3 AA Brownsville LTD a subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located at 15 Sam Pearl Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78520, as shown in Exhibit A, District 1.
This request is to downzone from light industrial to residential transition R3 for the proposed use of a multifamily development. The property is fronting San Pearl Boulevard. This property may seem familiar because in February of this year, it was upzoned to light industrial. However, due to change in the market, the developer requested to once again downzone it to residential transition to accommodate the multifamily development that they're intending to build. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 39 mailouts and 0 written opposition. And this is the zoning map. What predominates along San Pearl is regional center zoning. There's traditional neighborhood and traditional neighborhood mixed use to the northwest. And P&Z did recommend the approval to rezone from light industrial to residential transition.
Any questions or comments from the commission on this item? All right, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward. Close. All right, motion to close. Do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I have a quick question, Martin.
Yes, sir.
That building next to it is the Advanced Auto Parts? The left of it?
Yes.
Or Dollar General, something like that? What do we know what their intentions are? Just to develop it, like put houses in there?
Multifamily.
Okay.
A similar development that was built by the same developers over on West Rubén Torres, I think it's called La Cantera. So it would have sort of like a townhome style look, however, in apartment format.
Okay, thank you.
Any motion on this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Items for the individual consideration. Item number 1 is the consideration and action on a second and the final reading on ordinance number 235-2025-008 to rezone from the residential, a single-family R1 to the residential suburban R2 to allow a duplex development for Lot 9, Block 5, a Samano partition of the Wymore Tract, Cameron County, Texas, located at Danette Road in Brownsville, Texas, 78526, as shown in Exhibit A, District 3.
This case is probably very familiar already. The current zoning is residential single family. They're proposing a residential suburban zoning designation. The intended use is a duplex development, duplex subdivision consisting of originally 33 lots. However, it came down to 32 to be able to accommodate on-site detention. This property is fronting Dennett Road. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 33 mailouts, 1 written opposition submitted by the residents over in Tradition Estates to the north. The zoning that predominates is residential single family. There's residential residential suburban to the south. And just to provide some history, the item was presented at the Planning and Zoning Commission on May 1st of this year. There was a recommendation to approve the zoning change. The zoning change would allow a maximum of 1 duplex per lot. The proposed area of the entire development is 9.18 acres, and it's undergoing the planning process where, like I mentioned, it originally had 33 duplex lots, a total of 66 units. The item was then presented at City Commission on May 20th, where an action to table was proposed by the commission. Neighboring residents had concerns related to road condition and storm sewer facilities. And proactively, the city, the planning department, along with the engineering department, we met with the property owners to the north from Tradition Estates and reviewed their concerns with them and showed them certain things that were being done to mitigate those concerns. So basically, it was explained to them the different watersheds and drainage of the proposed subdivision. The proposed subdivision would be subject to the drainage policies required for onset detention, city efforts to address flooding issues, well, one that's already active, creation of a new watershed along the Brownsville Historic Battlefield Trail, and this would create supplemental drainage to Tradition Estates and the final outfall to the northern drain ditch. The proposed subdivision would also be subject to capital recovery fees, and those funds would be used to improve infrastructure within the vicinity. And this is just an image that was provided to the residents to show the different watersheds and the methods of drainage that each subdivision has, and to emphasize that the proposed subdivision is completely independent and is 1,000 feet away from Tradition Estates neighborhood. And as mentioned, the property or the development originated with 33 duplex lots. However, to comply with drainage policies, one lot was eliminated to accommodate a detention pond with an approximate capacity of 37,000 cubic feet. And again, the existing roadway infrastructure was another concern. Because it is a rural road, it's a rural cross-section, there is no curb and gutter or sidewalks at the moment. It's just an asphalt strip that varies in width between 20 to 22 feet. Additional case history, the item was once again, after doing public outreach with the residents from Tradition Estates, it was again presented to the commission on August 5th, where a trip generation report was presented, and the number of trips generated was insufficient to merit a traffic impact analysis. The item was once again tabled, and commission requested further community outreach, where this second community outreach was scheduled on September 10th of this year, which was last week. And today we're back presenting the item. And this is just an image of the traffic impact report that was, or trip generation report, I'm sorry, that was presented at the previous city commission meeting. And at the second community outreach, we did point out to the concerned residents that Dennett will be upgraded to an urbanized cross-section, and there will be a $6 million investment. And now the total right-of-way will be 60 feet. It will be a 32-foot asphalt strip with 2 feet of curb and gutter, 4 feet of green buffer, 5 feet of sidewalk on the north side, 9 feet of bike lane on the south side, and there will be a two-way street. And additionally, I believe stoplight will be added in the near future on the corner of Paredes and Dennett Road. Any questions?
So, how did the last meeting end with the residents?
From the looks of it, they were more at ease because of the upgrade to Dennett. They saw with the recent rainfall, the improvement that was recently established worked quite well. Now the remaining concern was the road, and with the approval or the upgrade in the urbanization of Dennett Road, that helped appease their concerns.
Yes, Mayor Commissioners, if I can just give an update on how the drainage worked. The new storm sewer system we installed worked really well. The last storm that we had, and the residents recognized that they were real happy that it worked well. The water didn't get as high as it usually gets, and it drained out a lot faster. So the new system we installed worked really well.
I wanted to thank each and every one of you that attended the meeting. I know the young lady has been very vocal for her subdivision, and it was great to see all of her questions answered, and she was very, very happy of the outcome, and that her street, yeah, it does flood, but the water goes down relatively quick, other than before. As far as the subdivision that she was concerned of, her questions were also answered. So she was very thankful. I think she even posted something on Facebook thanking everybody. So on behalf of my district, I want to thank Mr. Vega, Carlos, and Maribel, and the rest of the city management for the hard work you do to taking care of Tradition Estates. Thank you.
Likewise, I just want to echo the commissioner in saying thank you to staff for working and being able to work, and the patience to the developer as well for being patient with us and working along. So great job, guys. This is a great product. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments, Commission? Okay,
Make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 2 is the consideration and action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-012 to rezone from the traditional neighborhood TN to the traditional neighborhood corridor TN-C to allow a fourplex for Lot 20, Block 3 in Lincoln Park subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located at 2024 East 20th Street, Brownsville, Texas, 78521, as shown as Exhibit A, District 1.
So for this particular item, staff does want to point out that the zoning change is no longer necessary because we've been collaborating with the developer. However, we do want to present the entire request just to provide that additional context of how we got from point A to point B. So the original request to rezone was to go from traditional neighborhood to traditional neighborhood corridor to accommodate a fourplex on the subject property. This property is fronting East 20th Street. This is the 200-foot buffer map. There were 24 mail lots and 0 written opposition. And within the vicinity, there is in its majority single-family homes. There are some duplexes here and there scattered. However, most of it is single-family residential development. The zoning map shows that the majority or the primary zoning designation is traditional neighborhood. There's some residential transition to the southeast, and a traditional neighborhood corridor to the northwest. And again, just to provide some background, the item was originally presented at City Commission on August 5th of this year. And some concerns that were brought up were spot zoning, increase in density, change in neighborhood single-family character, the design not being compliant with UDC residential adjacency requirements, and the design not being in compliance with parking and landscaping provisions. Planning staff did host several meetings with the developer's design team. The transition of the design went from commercial to residential. Originally, as mentioned, what they were proposing was a fourplex, and that under the Unified Development Code is considered commercial development. The reduction in density, basically they went from a four-unit complex to a duplex with an alternative dwelling unit. So as you can see on the image, well, on this first iteration, the design was updated to reflect a duplex with an additional unit to the rear. Because it became a residential style development, the residential adjacency requirements were no longer applicable. Design was compliant with ADU requirements. The commercial style parking was no longer applicable because, again, now it's a residential style development. And it was reviewed under residential landscaping provisions. The final product was compliant with UDC regulations, and we'll show an image of it in a little bit. It is compliant, again, with the residential character and density of the zoning district. The construction setbacks surpass established requirements. The design is compliant with ADU requirements. It's expanded, the site design expanded the width of internal walkways, so they went above and beyond on that point. They were compliant with residential parking design standards, and they enlarged the front yard for additional landscaping. The rezoning, again, of the property is no longer required because the use or the way that the site plan is now established, it would be permitted by right under the code.
So do we need a vote on it or not? No?
So you have the option of tabling it or denying it. The only thing is with denying it, it would not be able to come back for, what's it, a year?
No, but,
He doesn't need, they don't need the zoning, so how do,
or can I approve it?
we're just pulling the
Can we
they
acknowledge
no
it?
longer need the rezoning because they're going to,
By permit.
use their, what
Right.
they're allowed by right. So I don't know that it's denying it because they're pulling.
Yeah, I don't want to deny it.
Well, so you would be denying the rezoning request. That's item 2, I think.
No.
And because in the next one, we're gonna do with the fee that they paid, you have to deny it or somehow like take it off the table.
Right. Item 2 and 3 go together. Item 2 is a carryover from the last agenda where it was tabled. That would be the initial application that the applicant put forth to do the fourplex. We brought it forth on the agenda because it was already noticed, it was already posted, the public had notice of it. And since it's actual request, we wanted to give you the option of just tabling it or denying it. And then item 3 is the resolution that then credits the rezoning fees towards the future permit fees, since they're going well beyond and above the minimum requirements for the development that they are allowed to do by right with the current zoning request that they have. I mean, with the current zoning classification that they have.
Well, can the applicant just have a withdrawal of the rezoning, and that way you're not asking the commission to take action? So the applicant withdraws it, and because it's a withdrawal, and they don't have to take action.
What has been your business practice?
I think they can withdraw the case because we just wanted to inform the commission on the events. And yeah, it's kind of void at this point, but the applicant wanted to withdraw only with the reassurance that point number 3 is being approved, which is the waiving of the fees. He wants to tie those two. So maybe we can change the order of approval and comment the number 3 first, and then number 2 becomes void.
Well, if the applicant is withdrawing, then item 2 is mute, and so you just table it. Don't take any action on it.
I move to table.
We have a motion to table. We have a second. We have a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion? If not,
This will not hurt the applicant, correct?
No.
All right,
No.
aye.
all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Will, in the past, I've seen that we've removed things when we're not ready to present them, or why was this just not removed then? Because it just causes a lot of noise. Like, I think it caused a lot of noise, like, what's happening?
Well, because it was already, you have to understand that an application had already gone forward and the public was noticed. I don't know if the public reads the newspaper, but the public was noticed as far as the date and time when this item would be considered. And so for transparency purposes, we didn't want to just not bring it back to commission because it was tabled. Table means you put it back and then you bring it back forth at another future meeting. With the intent of 2 and 3, because the applicant has agreed to comply with the minimum requirements for what they're entitled to, we wanted to have that history, because all of us here know exactly what's transpiring, but the public doesn't. And the public, the everyday citizen is not going to understand that an applicant has pulled an application and what they will know is that they received a notice in the mail, and that notice is for this particular rezoning request, TN to TNC. And so that's the reason why we brought it back.
Thank you.
Oh, but with no future date.
It's a table with no future date right now,
Stays on the table.
I think you should, yeah. Okay.
and we'll just bring it
We'll
back.
make note for the record in the minutes. Okay, so moving on to item number 3, is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-115, authorizing the credit of the rezoning fees towards the future permit fees for the development project located at 2024 20th Street, Brownsville, Texas.
So this is the money that they had put into it. You're just trying to
Yes, normally,
Allocate
the
it.
city manager is not authorized to waive fees. So that when we get those requests, which we believe and staff believes that it meets a purpose because of his willingness to collaborate with the city to exceed the minimum design standards and for all the reasons that you see on this.
So you
slide.
agree, Will?
Well, correct. And one thing I wanted to add, because it's in the resolution, but I want to put it out there in the minutes. We normally don't do refunds of applications when a person comes in, right? In this instance, it's a little different, and I want to make that clear to the applicant, the future applicant that might get their zoning denied, right? Because if they get the zoning denied, there's staff time that goes through and processing and reviewing and all that, and the publications, et cetera. In this instance, because the commission has had a history of incentivizing developments that go above and beyond the minimum requirements for setbacks, sidewalks, et cetera. In this instance, not only did the developer decide, I'm going to stick with my current zoning classification, they also went above and beyond. And so number 3, although we say credit of rezoning fees, it really is an incentive towards that. So you are not necessarily refunding an application, that's what it comes down to. But you are incentivizing the developer for adhering to above the minimum requirements.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
And for the record, we already took action on number 4, so we'll proceed to number 5. Item number 5 is the consideration and action to authorize the city manager to execute a cost-sharing plan with Next Decade LNG LLC.
Thank you. We have Andrea, if you can come up here from Next Decade. But first of all, I just want to, when we think of cost sharing plans, there's really roles and responsibilities that a partner and us share as a city. And so in this case, really, in terms of the cost, that's coming from Next Decade, right? And we are providing as a fire department a service to the company who is investing Rio Grande LNG, $18 billion LNG. If you want to talk about a little bit about the project and where it's at right now, we can then go on to, I can describe the cost sharing plan.
Okay, thank you, Helen. And thank you, Mayor Cowan, City Commissioners, for having me here this evening. So we're very proud to be able to collaborate with the City of Brownsville and partner with this cost sharing plan. Since the beginning, we've been very transparent in the way we work, and the city has been very transparent as to their needs. So we're happy to be able to support the city in a way that is meaningful to the city, but at the same time that it benefits the entire community. So I am Andrea Figueroa Benton, Director of Community Relations for Next Decade. As you know, we have the Rio Grande LNG project in the Port of Brownsville. We are permitted for 5 trains. The first 3 trains are under construction, and we just announced final investment decision for train 4. We're getting close to move with train 5. And we will be starting the permitting process for train 6 and then 7 and 8. And for those that don't know, trains, it's an industry term to describe the size of the project, and that's basically where the gas is liquefied during the process. So yes, we lease just under 1,000 acres from the Port of Brownsville, and we start construction in July of 2023. And so, like Helen mentioned, at this stage of the project, we have about 4,500 people working at the site. And we're very proud to say that more than 70% of the workers are local. The way we define local is those that reside within a 100-mile radius of the site. So that includes, areas in Raymondville, all the way to Mission, Edinburgh. However, Brownsville is the #1 source of workers for the site. And when we started this project, we had committed to 35% local. And when we talked to Bechtel, our EPC contractor, they told us, we think that we can do a lot better than 35% because we know that a lot of the workers that we have working in other areas are from the Valley, and we have seen that. And this is actually not typical of projects. It's typically the other way, where like 30% is local and 70% no local. So we're very happy of that. We also have a third party that reports on the local content in terms of workforce, supply chain, the local businesses that we do business with in terms of subcontractors, and also community investment. We have invested about $875,000 in the community with our partners Bechtel and Great Lakes Dredge and Dock that are also working on the dredging of the channel, which that's another project that is about $400 million. So with that, we have invested in the community, and of course, most of it is going to Brownsville and Cameron County.
So we could just go over it. So it includes capital outlays, fire and operational costs, training, ambulance personnel and operational costs, training, lost and damaged equipment, and just an ongoing commitment to the city. Next slide. I think the big win for the city is a one-time payment of $1,156,451 to be used to pay for fire engine for station number 8. Also, equipment for the Brownsville Fire Department with storage connectors and for the fire apparatus, hoses, nozzles, and other equipment. And then also reimbursement for training, specialized training that is needed in collaboration with a training plan that will not exceed $100,000 annually for a period of 3 years, with an option for automatic renewals. And also, the payment of costs within 30 days of any invoice that we send for any specific emergency conditions or services that may occur where we need to ensure that it's safe. And so being able to receive that reimbursement is very important to our operating costs for our city and for our fire EMS. And then also anything equipment that's lost or damaged, so reimbursement of that equipment. And I really appreciate we worked on this for about a year. This is a true one city example. We always talk about one city, But I think this is a true example of a company that's not even in our city limits, but is within our service area for emergency services district, really stepping up and being the example. So I invite other companies to follow next decade's example and really support our fire services, our public safety services. We're investing in a beautiful public safety complex that is paid by the taxpayers of the city of Brownsville. So this is just an example, and we invite everyone to join us at Firefest. I know Chief Sheldon, you want to come up and invite everybody to come, because we'll have representatives from Next Decade at this festival, and really it's a community event. So if you want to tell us a little bit about it, and I want to thank you, Chief, for all your hard work on this. I know that you were in Assistant City Manager Salcedo were instrumental in really getting us to where we are.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. I want to invite you to Firefest, which is going to be October 4th at the sports park from 5 to 9 p.m. We'll have the public announcement of this great donation and our collaboration with Next Decade. It has been a true effort that's worked on for a long time, and they've been great partners with us and helping us understand the safety aspects of LNG. From different trainings they've already brought in to our continued efforts in developing those trainings. So I want to make sure the public is invited. It's a very family-friendly event to kick off the Fire Prevention Week. So we're looking forward to it. We're going to have plenty of events, music and fireworks and a lot of public safety demonstrations. And there's going to be several fire departments from around the valley joining us as well. So hope you all can make it.
Thank you, Chief.
I want to mention just one more thing. So the LNG industry has a track safety record, a long track safety record, and also we have like very robust plans for safety. But at the same time, we want the public to know and understand what LNG is, because I know that's the first step. A lot of people still don't know what LNG. There's a lot of misconceptions. People don't know that LNG is not like other hydrocarbons. So we bring LNG safety demonstrations to the community. We've been doing that for many years now, and we are actually bringing an LNG safety demonstration to Firefest. So we're bringing our third-party expert to present the safety demonstration during this event to the public. So like the Fire Chief Sheldon said, please, I hope you join us and invite your family, neighbors, and friends.
Thank you.
This is an action item.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second to approve? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I do want to say thank you so much for your partnership, Andrea, and to the Next Decade team. And thank you to the City Manager's Office, to Helen, for getting this done. It's really, you really set the example here on having that great partnership between industry and the city. And it's a really exciting time. Thank you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 6 is the consideration and action to acknowledge the budget allocation from the proceeds of the Series 2025A, the Certificate of Obligations issuance, including the planned infrastructure improvements such as the streets, drainage, and the related capital projects, and approval of the fiscal year 2026 capital improvement program.
Mayor and Commission, Alan Gard, Deputy City Manager and CFO. This item is to formalize the receiving of our $150 million of certificates of obligation that we very successfully sold recently. The interest rate came in at 4.35 and the model showed 4.5. So we're already seeing some savings before we've ever spent a dime. And also to formalize the 2026 capital improvement program, and talk a little bit about how we amend the capital budget. We adopt a 5-year capital budget, but really budgetarily, you only adopt the year that we're coming into. You're not allowed to adopt budgets beyond the single year. So what we do every year is we review the capital program. We see which programs are moving along properly. We identify areas where there might be some issues. This year we had to deal with the legislature, and that was a kind of a curveball that had us kind of change what our plan was. We also looked at 14th Street and some of the issues that would have come with traffic congestion. And so we use the opportunity when we review the capital budget every year to amend it and revise it to where it makes sense. So tonight, we're going to talk about the capital improvement program that you've had a work session on and discussed, talk about how we amended it and how 27 will look. Again, we look at all the projects through 2029. The other thing we do every year is we'll be adding a year on. So we want to have a rolling capital program. And then we're going to go over again and memorialize the full reconstruction projects and the mill and overlay projects for streets. So again, we had a first CIP budget workshop on August 19th. EPW did a streets and drainage workshop on the 26th and went over each of the projects individually and shared with you the costs and where those were located. We did a second CIP workshop on September 2nd. And then tonight, we're formally acknowledging and accepting the program. Again, the reasons why we do an amendment overview, impact of the state legislature that directed us then to sell $150 million of certificates of obligation. The other item that happened that adjusted our plan was we were fortunately the recipient of $22.3 million in grants from the RGV MPO for $29 million worth, about $27.8 million worth of projects. And we also add in a little additional money for design that's not covered by the grants. So the total of those projects will be a little over $31 million. And then also looking at the impact of the TxDOT 14th Street project that may have presented some construction and traffic impact if we had proceeded immediately with it because of items going on international. Oops. Okay, there we go. So here is the items as I just presented. For our 2026 capital program, we have the public safety facility, which includes police, fire, EOC, and IT cybersecurity. The total amount of funding for this year is a little over $70 million. We previously sold about $6 million to do the design, which is almost complete. Multimodal transportation, we have $20.2 million worth of debt, matching it with $23.2 million of grant funding. The engineering and public works, that's the big street reconstruction projects, $26.9 million with $4.3 million in grants. The airport is also a recipient of grants. We have $4.5 million of debt program to leverage $25.2 million worth of grants. That's primarily for the runway reconstruction. Planning and redevelopment has $19.6 million of our CO sale. That's primarily for a downtown parking garage that the downtown master plan will inform as to where we will locate that. Fire and EMS, that's equipment replacement. Landfill, that's under the other funding item because we didn't sell any debt for that or we didn't sell COs. All those are going to be repaid by landfill revenue. Parks and Recreation, $4.7 million. That's primarily BCIC funding and our allocation from the 50% set aside. Internal Services, that's work on our buildings. This one is primarily the animal shelter. And then Information Technology, this is the next phase of the five, what do you call it?
5G.
Thank you. 5P, the fast stuff, the 5G. Okay, so here's the safety complex, and we had a great presentation on that tonight. Again, $70 million in debt. We had a small grant that we received earlier that went towards some of the design for $70.25 million. Multimodal, the ITS capital projects. These are mostly traffic signal projects that will increase efficiency and synchronization across town. And then we have the contingency funds there at the bottom for a total of $31 million in projects. And I think TxDOT is very anxious for us to get those projects done expeditiously. And under multimodal, Dennett Road is included here for the sidewalks primarily. That's why that project was moved up and all the development going along Dennett Road. So that project made sense. The curb cuts are related to what they need to do for the bus shelters. And again, the grant funding there came from BCIC. Bus shelters as well will be a combination there. Land acquisition, the city is required by FAA to pay for the land that Jose Colunga transfer station is on. And so we will be making, that's a $900,000 payment that we will be making to the airport fund. And then North Canal to 550 Trail Project. So about $12.1 million for those multimodal transportation projects. Engineering and Public Works, Coffeeport Road, Phase 2 and Phase 1. Old Alice, land acquisition for the East Loop. Texas Water Development Boards, that's a SCADA project that has to do with drainage, as well as the hydrological model for the U.S. Geological Survey. We have $1 million to do sidewalk gaps and alleys. That will really help us a lot in a number of districts where we have gaps in our sidewalk. So, sometimes people can walk partway on the sidewalk, then they have to walk out in the street. We're going to try to fill in as many of those gaps as we can. And then $1 million of street contingency that can help us finish out the mill and overlay projects. So a total of $25.7 million of funding for these street and drainage projects here. Traffic signal improvements, we have $3.1 million in debt. This is for taking care of things that are broken. This is for traffic signal boxes, timing, the loops that you drive over to set the light to go green. These are things all around town that EPW and engineering have prioritized, and we're going to begin fixing those. There's equipment for engineering and public works to help make us much more efficient. The full-size milling machine, we do our asphalt mill and overlay projects in-house and save a substantial amount of money doing that. The sidewalk machine, this is a great piece of equipment. Normally, sidewalks are very labor-intensive, and it's not a lot of space. This machine will definitely speed up that process and allow us to do more, faster, cheaper. We have to replace our dump trucks periodically. The excavator hammer attachment will speed up demolition of roads and sidewalks and help us move those along quicker. The asphalt pro patch thermal lay truck is going to be taking care of the streets we cannot asphalt overlay right now. We'll be continuing to do potholes and take care of those streets the best we can until we can get to mill and overlay all of them. And then the brush and truck with the grapple will be helping us work alongside with Republic to help get brush and debris and things cleaned up along our roadsides. We'll be providing assistance in that area and trying to meet that demand. At the airport, reconstruction of the runway is the big project. You can see $22 million in a reconstruction grant, our $3 million match there. They're going to be doing renovations at the aircraft rescue and firefighting building that houses our firefighters at the airport. We are going to be doing land acquisition related to the extension of the runway. And then there's common use equipment. These are items that all the different airlines that use terminal space at the airport, this is equipment they use. This is like baggage equipment, the airways that go out, the air jets that go out to the jets, the seating and everything in the common area. And we periodically need to replace that and update that. Again, the airport's very good at leveraging grants. You can see $4.5 million in debt, leveraging over $25 million in grants. Planning and redevelopment gets all of the downtown items. So we have $16 million for the parking garage, $1.5 million for downtown improvements and trails, $1.1 million for downtown projects, and $1 million additional for historical preservation. We've had a little bit of cost overrun on the Capitol Theater roof. We have to do the Neal House, and we also have to finish completing work on the San Fernando building. And we will be doing, we also need to work on some things at Market Square that need to be updated and repaired. And we'll be working with BHA on those types of things. Again, under fire and medical, it's all equipment replacement. You can see fire engine replacement. The other grants and other funding, that 1.1 million, that's the money we're going to get from next decade. So we purposefully did not sell $1.1 million worth of COs. We're using that money to put it right back into another fire truck. And so we're saving a little interest on that. So thank you, next decade. They're upgrading the training facilities. We have a continuous ambulance replacement program. We have grant funding for a foam truck. We're adding a fire brush truck, and we need to upgrade our cascade air systems in some of our stations. The landfill, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. You can see all the funding for that comes right out of the landfill. But all these items are designed to extend the life of the landfill. And I think the big one is the ditch relocation. That really helped us add a substantial number of years to the landfill. I will also point out another important item is the tire grinder. Being able to grind up tires rather than put them in the landfill is huge. That's really a big thing, and we're very grateful to be able to fund that item. Parks and Recreation includes the funding from BCIC, the 3.2 million. That's our annual allocation. And then La Posada Park, we have applied for a Texas Parks and Wildlife grant of $750,000, and we have a letter of intent to match from BCIC that they set aside funding a few years back for another $750,000. So if we are successful with the Texas Parks and Wildlife grant, we'll be putting $1.5 million into La Posada Park. We have renovations at the animal shelter. This is for the air conditioning and the ventilation system, which we haven't had in the past. And then we want to do some office renovation at the CMD CVB complex in the back of the building that's currently not finished out. This is going to be for CVB staff, and we're using our PEG funds that we receive through our cable franchise that are very limited in how they can be used. This is really one of the few uses that can be used for. There it is, the smart city private 5G. That's the words I was trying to think of. This is the next phase of funding for that project. Then engineering, and then I'd like Maribel and if Dora wants to step in to talk a little bit about prioritizing our street renewal and our maintenance projects. They're a little more expert in this than I am.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Maribel Guerrero. I'm the Director for Engineering and Public Works, and this is Carlos Lastra, City Engineer for the City of Brownsville. We're here just to walk you through how we prioritize our street renewals and maintenance project. So one is the pavement data collection, right? Our original data collection was completed in 2013, and it was updated in the year 2020. The pavement condition index is established using ASTM standards, and that's how we measure and identify streets that need mill and overlay, conditions for improvement. It catalogs it from good to poor. And so we're able to at least catalog our streets according to the condition of the roadway through a data collection system. So all of this is data-driven in how we select our streets for, full reconstruction and also for mill and overlay projects and the prioritization of that selection. So the prioritized factors that are considered include the PCI, traffic volumes and counts. So our team does traffic counts to try to measure the amount of impact to vehicular traffic. We consider safety concerns, right? How many traffic accidents have occurred in that particular street? Economic and development needs, measuring the growth of the area and the potential for additional traffic needs and expansion of roadways. Drainage improvements, drainage has a lot to do with the condition of the roadway and the preservation of the asphalt. Funding availability, of course, and the coordination with other projects, such as the conflicts with utilities, water, gas lines, the needed repairs that might align with street improvements in those schedules. Also, we incorporate and consider community requests and feedback. So that's a very important driver also in how we prioritize and advance streets for mill and overlay projects. So the following amendments for this year's CIP planning includes Coffee Road, 14th Street, and Danette Road, right? So the streets that we've chosen to do full reconstruction, this is a brand new roadway, are Old Alice Road from Frontage Road to Ruben Torres. We are proposing to begin construction in fiscal year 2026 for an estimated value of $5 million. Coffee Road Phase 1 from Ruben Torres Boulevard to Paredes Line Road. We're calling this in District 2 and 3 because the roadway in its completion with Coffee Road Phase 2 will be in both District 2 and 3. This is construction status to be started in 2026 with an estimated value of $6 million. We advanced Danette Road from Paredes Line Road to Queens Road to begin construction in 2026 for $6 million in District 3. East 14th Street and Coffee Road Phase 2 will be moved to fiscal year 2027. And there's various reasons for that, right? So East 14, by delaying it, will allow its construction independent from current reconstruction work of International Boulevard by TxDOT. So this approach will minimize traffic disruptions in the areas. In other words, having construction projects through major transportation thoroughfares at the same time in the same area would be impactful to our residents. So we decided just to kind of give that a little break, delay East 14th Street or reschedule it to fiscal year 2027. Coffee Road Phase 2, we decided to kind of break up Coffee Road into two different phases. So Phase 1 is from Ruben Torres to Paredes Line Road. Phase 2 is from Paredes Line all the way to Old Port Isabel Road. The reason for this is we are ready right now to go into construction for Coffee Road Phase 1. Coffee Road Phase 2 requires additional work. We still need to acquire some land to provide for some drainage improvements and also to provide larger footprints for new design on traffic lighting. So we're not quite ready to start construction on Phase 2. So we're moving that to fiscal year 2027. The proposed in-house street millennial overlay project, this is about a total of about 6 miles, 5 to 6 miles of mill and overlay projects. We provided both the estimated contractor value and the cost savings of performing these services in-house. So this really, if you look at it, it's about a 50% savings when we take these roadways for mill and overlay in-house. Right now we have 11 streets that are funded through our operational funds, right? I mean, through the funding, I'm sorry. And then we have 2 CDBG streets that are funding through that grant source, Orange Street and Grapefruit Street. Would you have any questions related to the street projects?
So if Victoria Gardens gets demolished and then reconstructed, because the back end, I think, is Orange Street, will the construction of reconstruction of Victoria Gardens affect the road? Because there's no sense in paving a street if there's gonna have a lot of truck traffic, right? But I just.
Well, I'm sorry, we are not aware of that development. We will look into it and make sure that the timing is right for scheduling of Orange Street.
Isn't Victoria Gardens from the Housing Authority on the corner of International and like?
Yeah, we can follow up with Carla Mancha and then see about timing. I'm sure she'll be happy with having that repaved. So
correct.
But we can make sure that one excellent point in terms of timing of construction. So you could just do that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So in total, you can see the breakdown. The big part of our CIP is going to be the public safety complex for the next few years. So it's about not quite half. But we do have a substantial amount in engineering, public works, multimodal, and in our streets. And then again, we have quite a bit at our airport. So we believe that the capital improvement program touches all parts of our operation. Again, public safety is our number one thing. It's the biggest part of our general fund, and this year, this next couple of years, it'll be the biggest part of our CIP. We do have this QR code that's going to be available for our community to follow along with our capital improvement program, so they can see the same information. And we're going to be working on adding all kinds of interesting features to this. We might have a camera that watches the building of the public safety complex or something like that, where the community can go in and see these projects as they go along. They can find out when their street's going to get done, those kinds of things. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I have a question. I saw 2.6 million Southmost Natural Trail. Is that like made out of silver? And then 1.5 million for trails downtown. So my question is, we have $4.1 million worth of trails. What exactly is we're going to be doing? How long are these? What areas? Are these reconstructions? Are these new? Just a lot of money. And then I saw that we were going to do $1.2 million of in-house mill and overlay. I mean, it was 13 roads, I believe. So we could probably get done about 50 more roads. So I just want to make sure that what we're doing and what it is that we're covering with the trails part.
I think we need also, I think some of those are matches for our DVMPO. So please, if it's a match for something, staff, please identify that.
Yeah, and if it's a match, would it say something on the side?
I think this is the end of the original plan. We had to move the last phase of it.
Yeah, this is the phase 5 of the Southmost Nature Trail 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last phase. Phase 5 is the last phase of that trail.
And that did include, that's a match about what that project is.
It's a match to the, no, I can't.
Oh, no, it's all right. Look, just, can you get it to me?
Yeah, I can actually, I can
That's
get you
fine.
that information.
Yeah,
but
don't worry
these
about it.
are-
I mean, you can't know everything that's going on, just get it to me.
Yeah.
And the other one, does anybody know about the other one? 1.5 million downtown on trails? Where are these trails downtown?
The downtown one, it's basically completing the gaps and the areas that's left from Palm Boulevard to Mexico Boulevard for the West Rail Trail.
And it's just more concrete?
Yes, well, it's the section of trail that's not complete right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a section at Palm Boulevard right now, West Rail Trail finishes. This will take West Rail Trail from Palm Boulevard down to Mexico Boulevard or
Do we know if that, because I also saw that we had park improvements for 4 million on there, I believe. I don't have the exact number. Oh, 3.2 million.
That's the funding that we get from BCIC, and that's the list that Parks puts together, and BCIC approves that list.
Right,
Hey,
but that
do you
list
think
always
freeze-
goes to the commission as a work session prior to
Correct.
being submitted. So if you recall last year,
Yeah, I
you
remember.
brought. you
$11
probably had a
million.
work session, So we're gonna still work on that.
Yep.
But that allocation is there because it's allocated per ordinance. But we would stop to choose the next projects on the CIP list and then go to the commission, get your approval, and then present to the BCIC board like we did last time.
Well, what I've seen with our trails is they ask for us to cut the grass, they ask for shade, and they ask for water. I'm just wondering, why don't we start doing that and finishing completely instead of continuing to grow? Could that have been an option? Is that something we could have done? Is that something that?
As part of the 3.2, we have a tiny forest program where they will be planting trees along the trails. And in addition to that, for the maintenance, it's part of the work that our parks and public works team are working to create the mowing standards so that we can finally put that item to rest exactly how we're going to maintain each trail and what areas what's gonna be the width of the mow area. So we'll have that for you as part of our maintenance schedule.
Sure, because I know on West Trail, you were mentioning to me that the slope is very heavy, so it's very difficult to try to get it done. So we have to let people know, hey, this is what's going on. Now, isn't there a road coming on part of that very soon? Will that trail be touched at all?
That's through the RMA. I can follow up and get a schedule to see where they're at on that.
No, what I mean is our trail will be fine, correct?
Correct.
And then,
That's the intent.
that's the intent. And will that hill be a little less aggressive, that maybe we can mow it? Because what I've heard is we can't mow because it's so aggressive. And people who are there that's not an answer they want to hear, right? They're like, well, 6 feet tall. What do we do?
So we'll go back and see about the equipment that we need, Commissioner. But to your point, in terms of maintenance and expansion of trails, that's also part of the conversation with the Parks, Health and Rec Master Plan in terms of how much where do we fix with the gaps versus new trails and the maintenance costs. I know that one of the things that we're doing through our public improvement districts and our, like Medata it has a PID where all the trails that are being proposed are being maintained by the PID and the HOA. Even the ones on the frontage that extends to the Los Fresnos Trail. So there's ways that we're finding ways to reduce our maintenance costs while at the same time, making sure that we take care of the gaps. We have a lot of gaps from our system.
Yeah, I think the gap should be first, the tree should be second, and then expanding should be third. And if we just continue to expand and leave gaps or no trees, those trees the trails are long, and we're usually over 90 degrees here, so and now we're doing Coffee Port, Dennett, Old Alice, everything will have 9 feet on one side and 5 feet on the other. So, I hope I start seeing people walk in Brownsville, because that's a lot of concrete.
I think that feedback is very helpful too, because with that, we can anticipate that. And when Parks and Recreation looks at allocating their money, we can include a component that has more trees. And so we can work on that over time along with everything else.
Thank you so much.
That's good feedback.
Mr. Guard, can you just please let me know, where are we at with that Neal House?
Roberto, you want to come talk about the Neal House?
Good evening, Roberto Vice, Director of Enterprise Project Management Office. Yes, sir. Right now, we issue already the PO to KCI. They're going to be helping us with the engineering assessments that we need so we can make sure that the house can be moved. We issue an RFP. Unfortunately, no one bid it out. But instead of waiting, we took the action of actually start with the engineering assessments. They're going to check the stability, the structure of it. And they already have the kickoff meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. with the engineering company, so we can start working on that particular aspect. So when we RFP it again, at least we have that component ready. So for the mover company, they're just focusing on moving it based on that assessment.
Okay, do you know where we're gonna move it to?
A linear park.
Linear Park?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But just to provide some clarity, the initial RFP was to hire somebody to do the design, move the building, and repair it. Nobody wanted to take on that level of complexity of a project. So what we've done now is hired the design engineer to prepare the design drawings that are needed so that we can advertise the moving of the house and then separately advertise the reconstruction of the house. From conversations with bidders, they did not want to be, we didn't have one bidder that would be responsible for moving and refurbishing the facility.
Okay, now, the only reason why I ask is there was a neighbor of ours that had asked me, hey, have you heard anything about the Neal House? And I said, no, but as soon as I have a chance, I would let them, I would ask. So, but it's in the process of seeing if we can move it and then get redone. Okay, thank you.
I'm just curious to know, how we came to a location for Linear Park?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask, because I remember we spoke about it and we had never come to I don't know if it's something we should talk about right now, because I don't
We
see
had
it on here.
numerous work sessions and executive session. We're happy to provide that information, especially we have new commissioners that were on here, but we went back to you all multiple times to just trust but verify that that was the location. But we can provide that and follow up with you on that.
Thank you. Is this to acknowledge or? do we-
Yeah, this is a motion to acknowledge.
Motion to acknowledge.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Alan.
Board appointments, action item number one is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-116 to appoint or reappoint members to the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation, GBEC.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. This particular item is before you because, as you all recall, the City Commission in 2020 appointed themselves as the board. There was an initial transition plan to have citizens appointed to those positions, but through transition that the GBIC had with executive directors, that transition period was stalled. And so what this will do will provide staggered terms for the members who currently did not have an expiration date. So they were serving up until this occurred. And so now this resolution will provide staggered terms to where the initial term will be for the mayor at large A, District 1 and 2, they will have a 4-year term. Those individuals that are appointed by at-large B, District 3, and District 4 will have a 2-year term, and then thereafter, they will have 4-year terms. The initial term and the prior term that they're currently serving will not count towards that 2-term limit that is in the bylaws and the ordinance. And so at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I know this might be, forgot the word, but is staff ready? They're aware of this transition and what the planning is on all of that?
Yes, I don't know, I myself haven't had conversations with their board. I do know that their team does know, the executive director's team does know, and their current attorney knows as well that this is before you all. So the action, and the action on this, of course, would be twofold. One would be appointing individuals to the position, and it can be the same individuals. I defer to that to you. But it would be also adopting Resolution 2025-116 as part of your initial motion.
That would be two motions?
Correct. Right, because it will actually be several motions, because I think if you're gonna.
No, correct. Like I'm saying, it would be motion to appoint and then after motion to
adopt the resolution.
adopt the resolution.
Correct.
Oh, perfect. I'd like to appoint Ben Peña.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I'd like to appoint Frank Orozco.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I'd like to appoint Dr. Joe Hinojosa.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I'll move to appoint Anchor Jensen.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I would like to appoint Antonio Bernos.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I move to reappoint Gerardo Gonzalez.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
And I'll reappoint Anna Quinn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to adopt resolution number 2025-116.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 2 is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-117 to appoint members to the Youth Advisory Board.
Mayor and Commission, we had a few more appointments come in from the high schools. In addition to that, I left you a couple of names from Pace High School, Lopez High School, and veterans that came in after the agenda was posted. If you could please amend to include those students as well.
Yeah, I move to approve with the amendment of adding Pace High School Stephen Reyes, Lopez High School Annika Bouchot, and alternate Madison Cabrera, and Veterans Memorial High School Zivelia Pineda, and alternate Massimiliano Marin Meda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
I'm sorry, aye.
All right, may we move into executive session, Mayor?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carried.
The City Commission will enter into executive session. Item number 1 is the closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, related to the collective bargaining agreement with the Firefighters Association Local 970. Item 2 is the closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Sections 551.071 and .072 and .087, related to Project Refresh. Item number 3 is a closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code 551.071, related to the public safety. The city commissioners will enter into executive session. The time is 7:36 p.m. Okay. Mayor, may we reconvene into open session?
Yes, please.
The time is 8:12 PM. Is there any pending actions from executive session?
No action on one.
Item number 2 is
There's action.
consideration and action on the resolution number 2025-118 related to Project Refresh to award a Chapter 380 incentive agreement.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-118.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Adjournment?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Ayes have it, meeting adjourned.
The time is 8:13. Good night.